Here, when they're talking about Jew, quote unquote Jew, they're talking about the southern kingdom of Judah, which was only thing left. And so these Ashkenazis call themselves Jewish are not the same thing. They're not of the southern kingdom of Judah. They're not of the Messiah. They're not even the bloodline of Abraham. They're sons of Japhet. Japhet, the third son of Noah. Shem, Ham, Japhet. They're from him. And they try to dwell in the tents of Shem. But they're not Shem. So he says here, wherever he says Jew, it's really Judah or Yahudah or Yahawada, depending on if you want to use ancient Paleo-Hebrew or modern Ashkenazi Hebrew. They might say Yehuda or Yahawada or Judah in modern English. Judah. So to Judah first, also to the Gentiles. So what does that mean? That means Judah being the chosen people, trouble and anguish on him first and foremost. Why? Because he has been chosen. And Most High made a covenant with him that he didn't make with any other people. And if he leaves that covenant, he's going to get punished and has been punished. First, later to the Gentile. Okay? Everyone that doeth good, Judah first. Also to the Gentile. As many have sinned without the law shall also perish without the law. As many have sinned in the law shall be judged by the laws. This is powerful. So a Gentile that has had no opportunity to know the truth are going to be judged by what they know to be right. That's between them and the Creator. But us who are Hebrews, who have had opportunity to know who we are now in the awakening, before we didn't. But now in the awakening, we're going to be judged by what we know who we are. We're the chosen people. We're going to be judged by that, by his law, by his covenant. Now, there are many generations of us that didn't know who we were out of ignorance. Most High will have to judge them according to his judgment. That's not for me to say. Okay? But for us, we know who we are. We understand the law of the Most High. We know who the Creator is and that he chosen us and chose our fathers. He is awakening us to these facts in these last stretch of time before the kingdom of Yah is established on earth. And so we'll be judged by what we know. Praise the Most High. We'll be blessed or cursed by what we know. The knowledge of truth is a blessing. The obedience to the knowledge of truth is a greater blessing. So he said, not the hearers of the law are just or became innocent or declared innocent before Yahweh. The doers of the law shall be justified. Now, how does that work? Let's go back again to our definition of righteousness by faith and of the gospel. It is the power of Yah unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, also to the Judah first, and also to the Gentile. For therein is the righteousness of Yah revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. So now, brothers and sisters, when the righteousness of the Father comes on us, the whole purpose of him putting that righteousness on us is for the spirit of righteousness to take over our spirit, and thereby we begin to be obedient to his word. We'll become a doer of the word. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? You become a doer of the word. Therefore, you become a doer and you are justified because of the spirit of righteousness that has been placed upon you. That's why he can say in the book of Revelation, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life. When you do his commandments, you have right to the tree of life. But you can only do his commandments when you have given up the spirit of wickedness that is naturally within us and taken on a divine nature, which is the spirit of perfect righteousness from the Father. Then you can do his commandments. Praise the Most High. Romans chapter 2. Let's look from verse 14. It gets very interesting here. From verse 14 down to verse 19. Actually, from verse 14 to verse 20, Isha, to verse 20. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. In the day when Yahweh shall judge the secrets of men by Yahweh shall Messiah, according to my gospel, behold, thou art called Judah, and resteth in the law, and makest thy boast of Yahweh, and knowest his will, and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law, and are confident that thou thyself art a guide to the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. So now let's just stop here again. Let's make sure we reiterate what the apostle is reiterating here. He's addressing the Hebrews by blood that are in Rome. This letter is to the Romans. So in this part of the letter, he's addressing the Hebrews who are of the bloodline that are there in Rome and teaching these Gentile converts. So he's saying to them, you have a blessing. You have been given the law. See, the law wasn't given to the Gentiles. It was not. The 10 Commandments were never given to the Gentiles. You guys can read that for yourself in the scriptures. He didn't say, I'm making this covenant with everybody. He said, I'm making this covenant with Israel. And he specifically said, I am Yahweh. I said, I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. That wasn't everybody. That was one nation. I am Yahweh thy most high, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. He is specific. This is for y'all. And he said he made this covenant with Israel. He has not done so with any other nation. He made this covenant with them. He has not done so with any other nation. Okay? He says, in fact, let's take a look at it. 1 Chronicles chapter 16, which is actually a copy. It's a copy of Psalms. It's a copy of the Psalm. It's a copy of Psalm 106, I believe. But let's take a look at it. 105. It's a copy of 105. But let's take a look at it in 1 Chronicles chapter 16. Notice what it says. 1 Chronicles 16, I'm going to begin at verse 10, and I'm going to go down from verse 10 down to verse 17. 1 Chronicles 16 from verse 10 to 17, we'll come right back to Romans. Notice what it says. Glory ye in his holy name. This is a psalm of David. Let the heart of them rejoice that seek Yahweh. Seek Yahweh and his strength. Seek his face continually. Remember his marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. O ye seed of Israel, his servant. This is specific. Ye seed of Abraham, of Israel, his servant. Ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is Yahweh, your most high. His judgments are in all the earth. Be ye mindful always of his covenant, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, even of the covenant which he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same to Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying, unto thee will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. See? So wait. He didn't say any other nation here. He specifically was talking about Israelites, the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the covenant he made with them. Okay? So he did not give this covenant to everybody. He was giving it to the Israelite people. Okay? So it was for them to teach the Gentiles. And what is happening in Romans chapter 2? The apostle is laying out that story and laying out that case. He is saying, listen, we received the law. We know better. We know what's true. We know what's false. We know what the true God is. We teach people the truth. Gentiles never had that opportunity. Gentiles never got that truth that we got. See? So he's saying when the Gentile steals, they may know it's better not to steal. But we really know because we got it from the Creator himself. He said, thou shalt not steal. He made that covenant with the whole nation of Israel and all the seed of Abraham. Okay, let's continue. Romans chapter 2. Romans chapter 2 from verse 20 to verse 29. Here's one where a lot of Gentiles get themselves all messed up because of Christianity, but we're going to, by the grace of the Most High alone, we're going to break this down. Romans chapter 2 from verse 20 to verse 29. An instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. Thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preachest that a man should not steal, dost thou steal? Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery? Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonorest thou Yahweh? For the name of Yahweh is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you. As it is written, for circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law? For he is not a Judah, which is Judah outwardly, neither is circumcision, which is outward in the flesh, but he is Judah, which is one inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart and in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Yahweh. What is he saying here? What is he talking about? First of all, the purpose of the circumcision. It was to be a sign in the flesh that represents a person that belongs to the Creator, Yahweh, the God of Abraham. But that sign in the flesh, it did not cause them to be able to keep the commandments, right? The cutting of the flesh off of the person does not cause them to have the ability to obey the commandments. What causes us to obey the commandments? Well, as we said, it is the spirit of righteousness from the Father that causes us to obey the commandments. Our trust in the righteousness of the Father. The Bible says Abraham believed Yahweh and it was accounted unto him for righteousness, because righteousness causes us to obey. It is a spirit. So what the apostle is saying is you might be circumcised, but if you don't have the spirit of righteousness from Yah, your circumcision doesn't mean anything. You're still going to be condemned. Just like a beast, you're still going to die. And if you still continue in that ignorance, you're going to do all the sins that the Gentiles do. You're going to do them. So what's the difference? But if a Gentile received the spirit of righteousness from the Father, and through that spirit of righteousness obey all the law, circumcision or uncircumcision doesn't mean anything, because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're doing what the Father ordained for them to do. Now, this is not doing away with circumcision. But what it's saying is a Gentile that receives the righteousness of the Father is accepted no matter what color they are. If they're not the bloodline, they can be accepted, as the prophets told us. The prophets say the same thing. Isaiah says the same thing. Now, this is the problem that the Gentiles have. They took this to mean they're replacing Israelites. That's what they did. They took this to mean they're replacing Israelites, which is why now you have Gentiles of Christianity thinking that they're spiritual Israel. This is wrong. This is abominable. This is not true. The apostle was not writing this for Gentiles to replace Israelites. Because he promised Abraham, I'm going to have your seed. Your seed is going to inherit the earth. Your seed is going to inherit this land. I'm going to have your seed represented as my nation. So Gentiles are not replacing Israelites, but they're getting an opportunity to become part of the nation. Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you seeing what I'm saying? They're getting an opportunity to become part of the nation. That's the case he's being laid out here. He's saying if the Father's Spirit come on these people, they may be uncircumcised. They may not be the bloodline of Abraham. But if they receive that righteousness, and they obey the right. Isn't that the whole point? He's saying, isn't that the point? That we're supposed to be obedient to the Father? And if they're obedient to the Father, then they should be accepted. And the Father accepts them. But see, again, I just want to stress the Gentiles that went too far with their steps. They create their own religion and then they try to claim to replace Israelites. Really, the truth should be they should be praying for the awakening. They should be praying that the Israelite people wake up and obey the Father's righteousness so that they can teach the Gentiles the truth, so that this whole thing will come to an end and that the kingdom will be established. You should be praying for that. But instead, what's going on is they're trying to replace the Israelites with a false religion and a white Jesus and a false God. That's what they're trying to do. So they took what the apostles said here and the devil used them, turned it inside out, upside down, and mess it all up. But no, the argument that's being made here is a true person of the tribes of Israel is a person who has the righteous spirit of the Father. That's why he say inwardly, the spirit, not the letter. In other words, when he's saying what most Gentiles in Christianity will tell you, see, it's not about obedience to the law, it's about the spirit. I mean, come on, stop. See, let's tell the truth about it. When he's saying the letter, what he's saying is, by the letter of the law, Abraham is the father of the nation. By the letter of the law, his seed is going to inherit the earth. And that's true. But they're not going to inherit the earth just because they're his seed. They're going to inherit the earth because they're his seed and they receive the same spirit of righteousness from the same Most High Yah that their father Abraham did. That's why. That's what they're talking about. There's no replacement of Abraham's seed. There's no replacement of the nation of Israel. There's no spiritual Israel that's going to replace them. But instead, they're being given, that is, the Gentiles are being given an opportunity to join with the nation, to get land with the nation, to be part of the nation, even though you're a stranger, to come in and be part and be accepted. That's what the opportunity is. Okay? See, we have to go through the whole history to understand that, because the way it is right now, it's upside down and backwards. The Gentiles out here talking about there's no Hebrew Israelites, there's no seed. And they're out here saying, we're spiritual Israel. Some of you trying to claim to be the seed from Caucasia, from places in the Caucasus Mountains, from Japhet. It's all backwards and upside down. But we have to go through the whole thing to understand, no, it's these brown people that were from Shem that are the seed. And then they came and among them was a instrument used to teach these Gentiles the truth. And because we have been brainwashed by our ancestors to reject every Gentile, to not have food with them, to not sit down and eat with them, to not receive anything from them, because we have been taught that, we got perverted in our ways and forgot our mission and forgot what we was about. So now, through the righteousness of Messiah, the Father is showing his spirit and showing what it's about. And he's now showing us who we really supposed to be and how we're supposed to reach these people that never knew who he is. So the circumcision in the heart is the spirit of righteousness from the Father. Anybody, no person is denied the ability to receive that righteousness. But of course, Gentiles should not try to create their own religion with their white Jesus and thinking they're going to teach Hebrews. You should not do that. That's not good. Everybody understand so far? Does that make sense? You see how many misconceptions, though? How many misconceptions and misappropriations and upside down and inside out turning of the scriptures, and how it, if you're just looking at chapter 2, verses 28 and 29 and not reading the whole thing, and you don't understand what happened back in Leviticus or what happened in the land, you won't understand any of this stuff. You just start making stuff up, and that's what they did. They start making stuff up. There's no such thing as a Jew anymore. It's all in the spirit. There's no circumcision anymore. It's Christianity. It's white Jesus now. We're under grace. No. They're still an Israelite nation. They just got carried away in themselves. The Most High had to rebuke them. And he showed that Gentiles can receive the same spirit of righteousness and be obedient to the covenant given to the nation of Israel through the Hebrew Messiah. But then the Gentiles got carried away, created their own religion, turned Messiah into a Caucasian man that looked like them, and tried to say they're replacing the Hebrews. Got all messed up. And just as the Hebrews got severely rebuked for their sin, here in the end of time, Gentiles going to be severely rebuked for their sin. And even more so, because these are the true Israelites that y'all trying to mess with. See? Yeah. So everybody is guilty. There's no new thing under the sun. Hebrews were guilty of pride, and they fell. Now the Gentiles guilty of pride, and they're going to fall. Same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. What has happened before is happening again. And there's a time of righteousness. It's the time to receive the Spirit. Time and place for everything. This is the time. And in order to know what time it is, you have to respond to the Father's Spirit to understand what time it is. That's right. Praise the Most High Yah. Let's have a word of prayer. I'm going to stop this recording now. I'm just telling everybody, stopping it here.